Welcome to Legacy Boxing Showcase, sponsored by Legacy Boxing Promotions, Pettis Collision. I'm Ed Nunez, along with Austin Colleen. Welcome to another episode. And Austin, I wanted to lead off and talking about, I talked to you twice this weekend. And, you mentioned you've been to the Pettis Gymnasium and you've been doing some sparring yourself. And, I'll tell you what, I was really interested in going to watch you. And you mentioned maybe I could, put a pair of shorts on, but I have a long way to go before, I love boxing. I really do. And I remember sparring in the backyard with some neighborhood kids. And I remember the first pop I got in the face, I'm like, maybe it wasn't such a great idea after all. So I don't know, but you want to tell us a little bit about it. You've been working with Aaron Pettis over there, and, you're looking for that one last fight with Mickey Rourke.
Well, one of the fringe benefits besides our fabulous pay for doing this show is we can go down to the Perez gym and work out anytime we want. Yeah. And he'll let any heavyweight spar with you or me. So
right.
We want to take advantage.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Austin, that's probably, I'm an old basketball player, retired, so that's probably something. You're a former fighter that's actually taken punches to the head and to the body, so you'd be much more inclined to do that than me. But one of the things you said was hitting that one bag that you were telling me about.
It's a double end bag. The top part is screwed into the ceiling, the bottom part into the floor, or you can have a heavy weight on top of it, either way. But when you hit the bag, it's moving on both the top and bottom, as opposed to a speed bag where the top part of the speed bag is stationary. And you would think it's easy to hit. It's just standing right in front of you. I literally miss between 40 and 60% of my punches. And our last guest that we had, Mike Alderete, he's amazing at hitting it. He just, bah, 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 bah. He'll hit it 20 times and he'll never miss. And I literally, the most I've ever hit it consecutively is 4 times. It's just, I don't know how these fighters hit it.
How are you doing with the training? Because you mentioned Aaron Pettis is really working with your footwork. And I haven't asked producer Josh Brown, and also joined by Dana Childs today, if maybe sometime they can go out there, and I don't know how you'd feel about it, maybe shoot some footage of you still training.
Well, what's nice about Aaron, he's a lot more old school than some of the other trainers. He has his fighters skip rope. He has his fighters get in front of a mirror and shadow box. And matter of fact, the very first thing he does when the fighters come in, he has a routine where they loosen up. When I fought, my manager, Arthur Romalo, always told me, just start off shadow boxing in front of the glass. After that, he didn't care in what order you did the other parts of your workout, including the sparring. But he wanted you to shadow box first. And after 3 or 4 rounds, you've broken a sweat, all your muscles are loose. So Aaron's been coming over to me and saying, okay, when you're throwing your hook, you're like, I'll hitch my elbow. When you really don't have to, you just turn your body. So I'm wasting a half a second doing this thing and then shifting my weight from my front foot to the back foot. Little things that are actually very important. They're the difference between a punch landing and a punch missing.
You'd mentioned one of the fighters that was on the card at Legacy Boxing at Route 66. I think it was Christian Cabral that maybe Daniel Pitbull Pettis picked up on it, saying that he was throwing a punch off his back foot. Maybe it might have been Cabral. I'm not sure.
You're right. He thought the reason why Cabral doesn't have the power he should have, he thinks his body weight is over his front foot. And when Holly Holm lost to that French girl back in 2011, I thought in the very
Sophie
first...
Matisse.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Holly's weight wasn't distributed right in that fight. And Matisse just saw it right away and just figured, just be patient, it would take care of itself. And I remember saying that to one of the people standing right next to me.
Well, in that rematch, I remember Holly did get the decision, but boy, she stayed away from Sophie Matisse's power. You remember that? I mean, she scored the points, but boy, she did not want to get in, because Sophie Matisse really devastating knockout in the second round. But Austin, I want to talk about Colleen's Corner. If you want to know anything about boxing in New Mexico, go to colleenscorner.com. Austin, you've got the big breakdown, and this week a very touching, moving article about Tom Krigo, Pops Krigo, big sponsor of the On the Mic with Mike Adams, Saturday, 6:10, 11 a.m. to 1 a.m. on 6:10 a.m. radio. But just a great article. You want to tell us, and Pops is a very humble guy. Very humble guy. So you want to tell us a little bit about that article, which I thought was well written.
Well, as a retired counselor, the idea is you're trying to get the person you're working with to tell you what their feelings are. He just poured his heart out to me. And there were some things I thought were too personal. I didn't include it in the article. But if you read the article, he made a lot of mistakes. And in the last 20 years, he's tried to step back in and apologize to people in his family and do the right thing. He's lucky he met his wife Colleen when he was out here, because he had blown up his marriage on top of everything else he had done wrong. And so he got a second chance at life.
Big supporter to the end when Albuquerque's own Johnny Tapia, big supporter of Johnny's, big supporter, and you had a picture of Pop and Johnny on your cover, or well, on your story. And Mike Adams always mentions that too about Pops and Johnny, and I've met Tom only once, maybe twice, and very humble guy, in the background guy, and I know you probably had to pull some things out of him.
Oh, I tell you, once he started talking, and the part about the combat, he was an airborne combat medic, but at no time did he tell me John Wayne stories where he was pulling grenade pins out with his teeth. He said, I was part of a group, and each one of us was protecting each other, and that's what was important. He said, you have a bond with the other people you're with in the field.
Which war was this?
It was in Vietnam. He went in 67, 68, and we had suffered a lot of casualties. I don't have the article in front of me. And he was one of the combat medics that was sent in as a replacement. When he got off the helicopter, there was 11 medics, and the medic next to him got shot in the butt as soon as he got out of the helicopter. And he said, I was unbelievably scared. And he said, and everybody realized, hey, this is for real, because he had never seen combat.
Gosh.
And that's how it started.
Oh, yes. Just what you described there, we got about 2 minutes left, but
Hearing
about that, wow.
One other thing, I was talking to Louis Burke this morning. Pop Trigo sponsored one of Louis' fighters. So he literally sponsors fighters around the state, and he doesn't like to talk about it. He says, he didn't even give me any names, but that came from Louis Burke.
Now, he's going to be a New Mexico Boxing Hall of Fame inductee?
Well, we don't know yet. We have to vote.
Okay,
And,
he's nominated.
Well, I think Mike's going to nominate him officially. He's going to take my article. And anybody watching the show, if they want to nominate someone for the hall, they can. To keep it simple, just who, what, when, where, and why. Give us some facts.
Any place they can send that to, Austin, so they know?
Sure, they could. I've never even thought about this. They could actually just send it right here, and they could pick it up from you people.
Or ColeensCorner.com.
Colleen's Corner.
ColeensCorner.com.
Yeah.
If anybody has a Boxing Hall of Fame nominee, they can send that to Austin Colleen. Got about a minute left, and Aztec Warfare will be the next card, and we'll get into that deeper. Any initial thoughts about that?
Yes.
October 20th, Hispanic Cultural Center.
Angel Perez has two big fights this Saturday in Hobbs, New Mexico. He fights Gene Perez. Now, Gene, even though his record isn't spectacular, he's fought everybody. So he's not going to be intimidated by Angel at all. And then his next fight on the 20th, he's going to be Johnny Gillespie from El Paso. And I've seen Gillespie fight many times. Gillespie's a totally different style from Gene. He's a slickster. If Angel tries to push him around the ring, he's very capable of just spinning Angel. Head will be sticking through the ropes.
Wow.
He's a shifty fighter. He uses your muscles against you.
Interesting. That's interesting. I'd love to see that.
So if Angel can win these two fights, he will put himself in a different tier.
Okay, well, we'll have to see. I know you're a big fan of Angel Pettis, but you wanted to see him kind of step up in competition. So let's see what happens. We'll be back to Legacy Boxing Showcase with a special guest after these messages.
Car Crafters, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Are you sure we're supposed to be doing this?
Don't worry, I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on, what's the worst that can happen?
No! Bad dog!
Hi, welcome to Car Crafters. What happened?
Don't worry, we'll make it like it never happened.
Car Crafters, it's like it never happened.
Duke City Sports Bar. Proud supporter of Proview Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. Catch all the sports action from high school, college, pros, and MMA on one of our 35 HD TVs. Start your night off right with any selection from our delicious menu prepared with fresh, never frozen ingredients. Duke City Sports Bar, Albuquerque's newest sports bar. Located on Eubank and Montgomery, dial 505-433-4020.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of Proview Sports Network. Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Folks, there's no other way but to be all in. Either he's Lord of all or he is not Lord at all. And you can experience the real and authentic, true life change that only God can provide to humanity. See, when we truly encounter Jesus and purpose to know him and follow his teachings, hashtag life change will occur.
Sadie's is a proud supporter of New Mexico high school sports and athletics, and we here at Proview Networks would like to thank Sadie's for their continued support in helping us bring you all of your New Mexico high school sports coverage.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rollins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.
Welcome back to Legacy Boxing Showcase of New Mexico, sponsored by Legacy Boxing Promotions, Pettis Collision, Ed Nunez, along with Austin Colleen, and in studio with us, Josh Pitbull Torres, New Mexico welterweight champion. Josh, thanks so much, man, for being with us. I still think, and I'm sure Austin does as well, talked to Mike Adams about this, that was the fight of the year. And I think when I saw you in studio, I still got tingles. I did. Because that was a war of attrition, man. It was. And, you dug deep. Both fighters digging as deep as they could. Conditioning, everything. Everything. What more would you want in a fight? It's just seeing you. I'm still tingling from that fight. I'm going to turn it over to Austin. I know he's got some questions for you as well.
Well, Josh, before I ask you any questions, I was in the oven this morning. These came out of the oven at 11 o'clock. So here's one for my co-host over here.
And I talked to him about 10 o'clock. You know what? It's still warm. Yeah. And I'll tell you what, this is a man here of many talents. He knows boxing like no one else does, but he's been sparring himself a little bit lately, and we'll get into that later. But Austin, go ahead with your questions for Pitbull Torres.
Well, before that, you can slice it, throw it in the toaster. The bread in the studio there kind of crumbled because I was cutting it hot. And so it makes nice toast, throw the butter on it.
Thank you.
So,
I really appreciate it, Austin. Thank you.
This seems to, you've really had a rebirth. Back in 2015, you beat Ronnie Ganoia, and at that point, it probably was the high point of your career. And how does, right now, if you're comparing it to a chart in the stock market, it's gone way up, then it slipped out. Now it's way up again. How does 2015 compare to right now? Because in both cases, you were at the top.
Right. I don't know. It's hard to compare because they both felt really great. To elaborate on your question about how I hit a low and now I'm rising up again, I think back in 2015, after I won the belt, I got a little bit comfortable. And I think that happens to some of us when we've been doing something for so long. I think you tend to get comfortable and sometimes you lose focus on the bigger picture, and that's what happened to me. But now, I'm back on a winning streak. I feel great, and I'm just excited to see what the future has in store.
Well, one of those losses obviously was to an orbital bone injury, and anybody would have lost that fight. Had nothing to do with confidence. And you didn't quit in your stool. That was the amazing thing, because that's a dangerous injury. And as a matter of fact, you tried to pull a miracle in the 10th round. So yeah, which was maybe crazy, because...
Well, I always go out there. I give it my all. I think that's one thing that I'll be remembered by the fans. They always know that I always give it 100%.
And obviously right now you're back on top. So what's next for you?
Well, we just want to stay busy, want to continue fighting, continue winning, and continue looking good. Of course, we want the bigger names. We want to fight on TV soon. Hopefully we'll get those phone calls. But until then, we just have to stay on the right track of winning and hopefully fighting here in our hometown.
Well, let me ask you a tough question. How about Jose Marufo? Either you or some of the people who are trying to fight you, I don't know why anyone's not calling him out and bringing him here.
He's a tough kid. He's hard to look good against, but I would love that rematch. I've never, turned down any fight in the past, and I don't plan on doing it anytime soon. So whoever they line up in front of me, I'll prepare for them, and I'll be ready. And that would be a great fight for anybody here in the state.
So you're open to that idea then?
I'm open to any fight that they give me.
Now, you seem to be, I only used to refer to you as an average puncher, but all of a sudden here you've got 3 straight knockouts. Do you feel like your power is better now than it was when you beat Ronnie Ganoy?
Not at all. I feel like I've always had the power. I think anybody that's been in the ring with me can tell you that. I've always had heavy hands. I think an issue in the past, I haven't always had the confidence in my power, and I might have let some knockouts get away from me that I could have had because I maybe questioned my conditioning. But now I'm just at an all-time high. I feel confident in the ring, and I believe in my power. I believe in myself. Training's been going great, so I think that's where the knockouts are coming. And we're just focused on giving the fight fans great fights. We just want to put on an exciting show. Hopefully the venues will recognize that and continue to have us back.
I don't think anybody's looking for refunds. I can tell you that. And I agree with Ed's description at the beginning of this segment.
You went and, you fought, I think you worked with Angel Garcia. And Danny Garcia, did you work with him?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
I went out to Philadelphia.
So I think one of the things, and you're as good as your last fight. I said that about basketball, as a basketball player, and you're as good as your last game. And so the fight game, and when Austin mentions an orbital injury, I think of Kell Brook when, Triple G, it about stopped him with an orbital injury. Austin's right, it's a very dangerous injury. So did you think working maybe with Danny Garcia and Angel Garcia gave you a little bit more? I mean, you're working with a world champ there. You're working with a world champ trainer. Sometimes the fight game's a funny game, Josh. One day you're on top of the world. You are right now. You got your confidence. What a fight it was against Cabral. He gave you everything that he could, and you came out on top. And Austin called that. I watched the fight again today in the 5th round, and I heard him say it twice. I think this is going to end in 7. That's what he said.
Yeah.
He called that dead on.
I heard it.
And so, right now, do you think that sometimes you said you get comfortable? I think any athlete that gets comfortable when they're succeeding, but it's the low points that make you who you are.
Right.
So what was it that turned maybe Josh Pitbull, taught his fortune around? What was it? Anything in particular?
I think it was some of my losses. Like you mentioned, sometimes you learn a lot about yourself when you're at that low. And I realized that I hate losing a lot more than I love winning. And so it's pulled me back on track. It's got me hungry again. I feel young as ever. I feel strong as ever. So yeah, it feels great.
I think it was a spectacular finish, man. It was. And I watched it again today, and I watched it closely because Cabral's still fighting back with 20 seconds left in the 7th.
Right.
He still came back with a couple, the guy showed you everything he had, man. Everything. And much props to him. But you finished it with spectacular fashion. I thought the referee did an excellent job. He stopped with 1 second left, and later Christian said maybe he should have taken a knee.
Right.
But I thought that again he gave you everything he could, man, everything. And I think sometimes Austin and I talked about this on the last show. Sometimes in defeat, your reputation goes up a little bit, and I thought Christian Cabral's did after that fight. Then you got Jose Sanchez in the ring. Cabral won a rematch. So again, when you say what's next for Josh Torres, I think there's a lot of options out there.
There is, and I know being at the top, I know that guys are going to be gunning for me, and that's okay. I'm ready for it. I'm ready to get in there and make exciting fights for the fight fans. So we're looking forward to it.
I'll tell you what, I think I've lived in Albuquerque all my life. And so when I hear Pitbull, and I had them all behind me, and I'm Puma, I mean, Albuquerque represented, man.
Absolutely.
He represented. If somebody that's lived here all my life, I love Albuquerque with all my heart and soul. Everything about Albuquerque. And we'll get into your words after the fight in a little bit here. But man, Albuquerque represented, didn't they?
It did. Boxing is alive, and I'm just very honored to be a part of it, bringing it back. It's been a long time since we had a local rivalry like that, something for the fight fans to look forward to. And it was just exciting to be a part of it. I mean, the energy in the arena was amazing.
Man, and incredible, Austin.
Well, Mike Adams, as both you and Christian were coming into the ring, was working the audience into a frenzy. And he's a great announcer. Now, I asked Max Heyman and Mike Alderate, and they said they blocked him out because they were focused on their opponent. I was wondering how you were getting into the ring. Were you cognizant of Mike Adams working the crowd, or were you just focused on Christian?
Well, I'll be honest, I didn't hear a lot of Mike Adams, but I did hear the crowd. Oh. And it's been a long time since I've been in the dressing room. And I mean, of course, you're not afraid before the fight begins, but I was a little intimidated. I'll be honest, Christian's fans came out and they made some noise, and it was pretty crazy to see just as much noise for my opponent.
Puma. My stomach was just rolling over.
It was insane.
That was a visceral ride.
Yeah.
The audience was so into that fight. And I got to give Christian credit. Early in the third round, I thought you were going to finish him. And he what a comeback. And I thought he won the sixth round. I don't know if you agree with this. I thought he actually carried the sixth.
I mean, if it looked like that from the outside, I'll respect that opinion. But in all honesty, I don't feel I ever lost control of the fight.
Oh, no, I didn't say you lost control. Because I thought what you were doing, you had that better punch. And you were just figured it was attrition.
Right.
You were taking him down.
Yeah, we were just being patient. We knew that Cabral was going to step into the ring the best, Puma that he could be. And it happened. We have to give, huge props to him and his team. The people that he brought in to help him, it made a big difference, and it showed.
Now, I think he's making a mistake right now. He's not in the gym training, because I think he left the ring at the top of his career, even though it was a loss. Do you think he should be trying to get a fight right now, assuming he doesn't have an injury?
Well, let's be honest. When you get into that kind of war, sometimes your body does need a little bit of rest. So I think it's reasonable to understand why he's out of the gym. But I would love to see him back,
not against
pretty
you.
Soon. No, I would love to see him, against an opponent where, of course, he needs to win. And I think he's going to continue to grow. Like you said, he learned a lot more from this fight than he would have an easy win. So
now there's two opponents for Cabral, or three actually, and you're very good at handicapping fights yourself. What would you think about him and Sanchez, him and Rodriguez, and him and Marufo?
I think those are all great fights, and we have to throw in Joe Ironman Gomez because he's been wanting the rematch with myself, so I think him and a lot of these guys would make some great fights also.
Any predictions on any of them, or do you just want to stay
May the best man win. I think it's going to be an exciting little mini tournament for New Mexico.
For mayor. That was a good political answer.
Yeah, thank you.
Josh, I want to ask you this because, again, fight of attrition, we saw it all, and that's why the fans. And again, you had Papitas Escobar against Tavoris Teague, and that was before you. And, that fight was, Tavoris Teague is so awkward. He kind of makes you look, he makes you look awkward. And I think Papitas, having sat out Matthew Escobar for 5 years, has missed that ring work in time. He's still a great fighter, don't get me wrong. But I thought that fight, it was kind of flat. But then you and Christian Cabral, man, you left him hungry for more, man.
Right.
You really did. I know I was on my feet the whole time. So did he ever hurt you? Did he hurt you at all?
I'll be honest. He hurt me to the body a couple times. He took that breath from me. But to the head, he never had me worried that I couldn't take his power. So that's what gave me the confidence to continue to move forward, break him down, and we knew it was just a matter of time before we broke him down.
What was your game plan going in? I mean, you've watched him. We got about 3 minutes left. And what was your game plan going into this fight? I mean, you watched film of him. What was your game plan and your corner's plan?
The game plan was to apply pressure, to use our strength, our experience, and everything that we've been through in the ring before to just take control of the fight. And I think that's what we did.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Austin, we got about 2 minutes left. Go ahead.
Your dad never seems to get any love. I think he probably deserves a little credit here. You probably heard the same thing. And so he has to have felt pretty good at the end of that fight, not only because you're his son, but, hey, he was in the corner.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we've been putting in the work. He's been the one, behind the scenes, holding the mitts, training me. So, yeah, of course he deserves a lot of credit that he probably doesn't get, but that's okay. Sometimes respect isn't given, it's earned, and that's what we're doing. We're making our way.
So did he make adjustments between rounds, any particular round where he said, Josh, you got to do this?
Like I said, we were never worried.
Yeah.
There was never any time that we doubted the momentum. He kept reminding me to be patient, that the bigger punches will come if we allow them to come to us, not to force anything, and I think it paid off to listen to him.
Well, it was, the first round was more than a feeling out round. You guys really opened up right away.
Well, this fight had been, unfinished business for a long time. So I think that's why we came in. We knew we had to take care of business, and we knew that the fight fans deserved it, and that's what we gave them.
I've talked to Ed about this. We like both you and Christian. You're both class people, and we've said this ourselves. We'd be proud to have either one of you as a son. You may not like us as a father, but you're both class. And I loved the way he acted when the fight was over. I wasn't sure what he would do, but he came over to you and hugged you.
Yeah, it was all respect after the fight.
All respect afterward. Got about a minute left, and I definitely got to get this in, Josh. After the fight, Josh, I look at you more than just a boxer, okay? Your message to the fans, man, I mean, that almost had my wife crying. Right. My wife's not the biggest boxing fan, but she's, very in touch with her faith. So explain your little message, as far as coming together as a community thing. What it meant so much to people there.
Absolutely. Listen, I love fighting. It's what I enjoy doing, but above all, I'm focused on the bigger picture. I just want to inspire people to be the best them that they can be, and I just want to, inspire change in our city because we need it. We need to give these kids something to look forward to, and that's what I prayed about. I just prayed that we would make our city a better place to raise our children because we need to focus on that.
Well, I'll tell you what, you're changing a lot of people's lives one at a time, and that's so important. Austin, final shot, final word.
You're an excellent speaker. You've done some television work. When your career is over, I mean, what are your thoughts for the future?
Maybe promoting, maybe managing. I don't know. Maybe I'll take your guys' job. I don't know.
Well, that's got me afraid already. But I mean, I could even see you in politics.
God willing. We'll see what kind of doors God opens up for me. Like I said, I just want to inspire people along the way.
Got a lot of charisma there, Josh. Josh Pitbull Torres, New Mexico welterweight champion. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Much respect to you, sir. Much respect.
Thank you.
For Austin Killeen, I'm Ed Nunez. We'll be back in 2 weeks for another episode of Legacy Boxing Showcase.
Hoops NM Basketball Center is coming soon. 10 full courts broken into 2 wings for ultimate basketball and volleyball play. Locker rooms, a lounge area, a pro shop, and a full snack bar will all be a part of a great experience. Convenient parking and access will make the Hoops NM Basketball Center a premier facility for league play and competitive regional tournaments. With over 9,000 square feet, Hoops NM Basketball Center will take court sports play to another level in our community. Courts are regulation high school size with wood floors and seating for approximately 350 per court. Major sponsors and supporters are being assembled now. If you're interested, contact Dan Serrano at 505-249-7994. Send him an email, hoopsnm@aol.com. That's hoopsnm@aol.com. Hoops NM Basketball Center, a premier sports facility serving our community.